Hey everyone, hello and welcome, Tony Bing here. Now, in the last few days we ran through the intermediate class for understanding the Scottish accent, and today, with my cold getting worse, we're now moving up to the advanced class. So this will be fun. We've now got my accent and we've now got my stinking cold as well, as you can probably hear. So if you're struggling, turn on the closed captions. It won't help at all because Google can't understand me, but it will give you a good laugh, so there's always that. But I'll be having a look at Human Torch anyways. He's had a lot of changes and he does look really good, so let's start off with Burning Bravo. Now, before we discuss this particular trio, I'll quickly mention the fact that he no longer has Spirit. He now has a new mechanic called Heat, and once we fill that up you'll see the nice visual effects for it. Now, the skills I'll be looking at here, they are mechanically the same, however, down the bottom you'll see it says while overheated. It's a bit like Hulk essentially, I suppose. When he's angry the skills gain an additional effect. So the first skill we're looking at is Skittering Blaze. So this is just your standard knockback ranged attack. Now when you're overheating it does a burning trail of energy damage as well. And next up we have Scorching Pyre. It doesn't have any burning effect or overheated effect, but it's still a nice skill. It's your dot and also your vulnerability. And next up we then have Burning Volley, which is your basic ranged attack. It's got an area tag as well, and when you're overheating the area of effect increases by 100% on that, so that's nice. And we then have Incinerating Blast, so this does more damage based on how many dots the enemy actually has and also based on your attack speed. When you are overheated it will throw out a lobbed fireball as well there. And then we have Homing Flares, so again this does more damage based on how many dots the enemy has, and when you're overheated it fires out more projectiles, up to 5 in total. And then we have Scorching Wall. There's no overheated mechanic here, this is just your standard wall for blocking enemies. It weakens them and also weakens any projectiles that pass through. And final skill here, simple one, it's Fallback Blast. This is just your standard kind of escape move that many characters now have, and will probably be more important with the difficulty slider coming in, skills like this. But next section we'll look at is Heroic Hothead. So this section is slightly different from the last in that we now have some skills that actually cannot be used whilst overheated. So the first section was mainly about getting your heat up and getting skills, so they had modifiers. This section in some cases is skills you'll use while your heat is actually going up to full. So the first skill we have is Searing Arcfire, and this is just your basic ranged channeled attack, and it does dot damage. And next up we have Furious Lunge, so it's got the regular 4-second cooldown and a maximum of 3 charges. When you're overheated the heat cost of this skill goes up, but it also regenerates health, so that's quite nice there. And then we have Fiery Rejuvenation, so with this absorb flames from burning enemies in areas to regain health and restore heat, and this ends the burning effect on the particular target it hits. So it restores health, restores heat, and it has a buff as well of health regeneration and also movement speed there. And next up we have Flame Tornado. This is actually, I believe, a new skill. Let me just quickly check here. Yeah, there we go. Lovely. I believe that was just like a kind of uppercut punch before, so that's a bit different. So with this it does extra damage versus burning enemies, and when overheated the cooldown comes down by 4 seconds. And next up we have Pyrotechnic Burst, so this is one that cannot be activated whilst you're overheated, and this restores heat and it has a stacking buff effect as well there on it. And next up we have Extreme Combustion, so with this instantly expend all your built up heat, sparking a massive explosion, so can only be used whilst overheated, and the damage bonus is based on the amount of heat you have there. And then finally we have his Signature, so this will actually restore 100% of your heat, and it gives a buff even of 20% critical hit chance brutal strike chance, and a heat cost reduction as well there. So it's kind of like a steroid as well in effect. Now what I'll actually do before we look at talents and traits, I'll have a very quick montage and flick through all the skills and how they look once you're actually once you have full heat and are overheated. So we'll just quickly zoom through that, and then following on from that we'll then look at talents and traits. So first up here for the overheated skills we have Skittering Blaze. There we go, we can see the big trail of fire it's left behind. And then next up is Burning Volley. The area effect is increased on this. There we go, huge area now. And then we have Incinerating Blast. This looks great. There we go, all the extra fireballs coming out. We'll activate our signature just to get full heat again, and then we'll go for Homing Flares. This is great, it fires out 5 projectiles. There you go, that looks amazing. And then finally we'll finish up with Extreme Combustion here. So this can only be activated while overheated. It's a big explosion. There we go, and a big kind of heat effect around them as well. So that's great. So let's look at the talents and traits now, and we actually have some skills we'll showcase in that section as well. So first up here we have the offensive trait, which is Thermal Intensity, and that does bonus damage to burning enemies. The archetype is Striker, gaining damage from the speed and energy attributes. We then have the defensive trait, which is Blazing Speed. That's dodge chance 3%. Archetype is Nimble, giving a bonus to deflect and dodge multiplier. And then we have this new resource, which is Heat. So powers can spend heat for additional effects. Heat does not naturally regenerate. When fully drained, heat starts to regenerate. And when you are overheated, you gain a 10% damage bonus, 20% critical hit damage, and 30% movement speed. And you also leave behind a burning trail of fire as well. So let's look at the talents now. We have Nova Burst. So Pyrotechnic Burst gains the following effects: generates 3 stacks per activation, gains damage, heat generation goes up, and the stack and buff duration goes up as well. We can see the tooltip changing there. And then next up, this is quite a simple one, it's Backdraft. So Fiery Rejuvenation always generates heat even while overheated. And then finally in this line we have Fuel for the Fire. So with this, all powers apply an ignite effect to any enemies hit. So just a dot there, a burning dot, pretty simple. For talent line number 2, we have Consuming Arc Fire. So Searing Arc Fire gains the following effects, and it must be overheated. Area of effect goes up by 125%, which is huge, and it gains 200 damage. So let's actually show you the skill normally. Simple enough. Then we'll apply the talent. Here's the talent applied. There we go. Looks amazing now. Really does look good. So next up in this line we have Flame Cyclone. With this, while overheated, Flame Tornado also spawns a Flame Cyclone. This is one of the skills they showed off in the developer blog on a little GIF, and this seeks out and damages enemies. Here we go there. That's very nice. And next up we have Wall of Flames. So Scorching Wall transforms into Wall of Flames, and this is a slow moving projectile which ignites and deals damage to enemies. We'll show this off. There we go. Another different skill, quite a lot of different skills here, which is goody. He was kind of out of date for a long time, Human Torch, so it's great to see him getting a lot of attention. Now next up for talent line number 3 we have Burning Fireballs. So with this, Skittering Blaze transforms into Scattering Fireballs. There we go, we can see it's changed there. And with this, Scattering Fireballs throws multiple returning fireballs, with even more fireballs thrown while overheated, and the fireballs bounce as well. So let's show this off. There we go, that's great. Really do like that one, especially in small confined areas. Let's show it once more. See them all bouncing back to us. So next up we now have Heat Wave. So Flame Tornado gains the following effects: it must be overheated to activate, knocks enemies into the air, and the area of effect goes up by 20% as well. That would tie very nicely into this one here. We'll activate them to see them. There we go. We now have 2 tornadoes as well because we've got the 2 charges on it. So that's very nice. And next up we have convection, which is while overheated, Holman flares fire an additional projectile. Incinerating blast fires twice as many lobbed projectiles. So we'll activate this. Let's see, so we've got incinerating blast here. There you go. You can see a ton of the other projectiles coming out, which is nice. And then we'll also activate this as well. Here we go. That just looks crazy now. Look at all the damage numbers. Awesome. So for the 4th line we have too hot to hit. While overheated you gain deflect chance, dodge chance and also damage reduction. And then we have cauterize, which is flame on applies rapid healing. The cooldown comes down by 5 seconds and rapid healing is doing 20% of max health a second for 3 seconds. And then finally in this line we have Ring of Fire. So fiery rejuvenation transforms into protective flames. This is similar to what we had before, but rather than a toggle it's now a buff. So I'll hover over the tooltip to let you see it. Then we'll activate that as well because I do believe the animation has slightly changed. There we go. Looks pretty nice there. Been saying that for most of these skills. They've done a great job on them. And for the final line we have Human Bonfire. So extreme combustion gains the following effects. It's got an 8-second cooldown, the heat cost comes down by 100% and the damage bonus is based, it increases to 20% of remaining heat there. And then we have Hot Temper, so passive effect, heat generation 20% from all sources and a base damage of 10% to burning enemies. And then finally we have Melting Point, so heat cost increase 100%, overheat buff effectiveness 50%. There we go, we can see those 3 kind of buffs now are now damage 15, critical hit rating 30 and movement speed 45. Previously they were 10, 20, 30. So very nice. I'm really impressed with them and I imagine I'll be giving them a good look on live. So if you've got any questions or comments please leave them below, and if you liked the video please make sure to hit like. If you're not yet subscribed and you liked the video please make sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon.